Good morning. Good Saturday morning. Nice outside this morning if you enjoy pollen.
Green slime day. Right.
It's day.
Week.
Yeah, month.
Month.
Yeah, I was trying to check real quick the current conditions. 58 degrees. That's a nice, comfortable morning. 58 supposed to be a high of 74 today. Already cloudy, it says, even though I see a little sunshine over there across the street. But finally, rain on the way. Much needed rain.
Oh, yeah.
On the way. Wildfires everywhere. What's going on with that? North Carolina got them, and our mountains. I mean, they're coast to coast, aren't they?
Yep.
Pretty much right now to deal with.
Within 2 miles, I think, one of the fires got within one of my favorite mountain towns, Saluda.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they had to evacuate or not.
And I think I heard they were as close as, thank you, Lanny. Tuned in this morning, says all good. Mike Painter, good morning, Mike Painter as well this morning. They were as close as Rutherford County, right? As close to us as Rutherford County.
Yeah.
I saw something about Conover.
Really? The rain can't come soon enough. What puzzles me more than anything is some of the worst ones were people burning leaves or personal people doing stuff with the
Stuff with these high winds.
With the ban out there. Not the band, because we hadn't got that far yet into the show this morning. But well, speaking of fire, I might as well jump right into it. Some of these college basketball teams have been on fire. Lenny, before you got here, we had a little discussion about the teams, and I have Brett name me every team that was still left. I only eliminated one that I didn't think could win it. Could see if you can guess which one that is. I think 7 teams that are left in the Elite Eight could win the national championship. 7 of them are good enough. And Brett and Mike informed me real quick that it could be an all-SEC Final Four.
Yeah, it's possible.
They got one in every game, and that they could all be in the Final Four.
The most we've ever had from one conference was, am I right, 85? 3
Big
from
East,
the Big East,
which don't exist anymore, or exist in a different
way.
Yeah. Got my team yet? Who do you think?
No, I'm trying to go through them all. I hadn't heard them all. Everybody I rolled through, I said they've got a chance.
Yeah,
I'm trying to.
And I maybe I shouldn't rule this one out, but they've got. They've got to me they've got a very, very hard. Well, they got a hard game today, and they'd have to win. Well, anybody's going to have to win 3 tough games.
Oh, yeah.
But somebody's got to.
You're true.
Somebody's got to. Somebody's going to win 3 tough games to get
there. It will happen.
Mm-hmm. Texas Tech is the one that I,
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, who did they beat the other night? Was that Auburn? I mean, not Auburn.
Beat Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah.
Had a 16. That's down 16.
Yep. And I told the guys before you got here, I was kind of pulling for old Cal to get there and get a little. I think he's going to do well at Arkansas. I'll tell you that.
You were talking about the SEC too. I heard this. You probably didn't heard this. Only one time have the top number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
It's still in play right now. This time.
Do you remember? Was that 10 years ago or
2008?
Something? 2008. Do you remember who they were?
That was Carolina.
Because I don't.
Memphis. Kansas. Because Kansas beat Memphis, and I'm trying to remember
Did Carolina win it?
No. Kansas beat Memphis.
Kansas beat Memphis.
Kansas beat Carolina in the semifinal.
Okay.
And then Roy, that the year Roy showed up at the championship wearing the Kansas
and he wore the
pin
Kansas
on his
sticker, and
shirt.
people got on him because he had the I want to say UCLA was the other team, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But the first 3, yeah.
Okay. So, and that was all number 1 seeds.
The only time it's happened.
Yeah, since they went to the 64 team, 85 or 86 or something.
Yeah, it was UCLA was the fourth one.
Well,
Who was UCLA's coach that year?
Was Howland there?
It might have been Ben Howland. Yeah.
Are you sure? I thought he was more in the 2000s.
It was. That was 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Ben Howland. That was
Ben
his
Howland,
fifth
that's
season.
Yeah, no, Herrick was there when they won it, wasn't it? In 95.
95. Yeah. Length of the floor, dribble.
With the O'Bannons.
Why is it UCLA not ever, since their dominance back in the 70s, not been able to be a perennial power? You know,
It's been off and on.
Yeah, more off than on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they've been a consistently pretty good program, but not.
They've been pretty good under Mitch Cronin. He got to the Final Four. Remember that memorable game against Gonzaga they lost, the shootout?
Yeah,
Right.
Jalen Suggs hit the buzzer beater.
Right.
And in the 2000s, didn't they lose in 2 championship games in the 2000s? Or they at least made 2 Final Fours when Russell Westbrook was there, and
they did. I cannot.
Jordan Farmer and
Hey,
Aaron Aflalo. They had really good players in
the 2000 on. I struggle now.
Yeah, I'm same way.
It might have been
further back you go.
I can roll
further
them
back
pretty
you
good.
go.
Seems like Florida might have beat them in one of when they went back to back.
Yep.
In a title game.
I believe you're right.
Either in the title game or the semifinal.
semis.
I know they made the Final Four a few times in the 2000s. They just
I believe maybe the
weren't
second.
the best team.
I believe the second Florida championship. I believe Brett is when they played UCLA in the finals. I think. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I think the biggest story so far in this tournament is there's 2. I think it is the amount of teams left that we still think can win it.
Yep. Chalk.
You know, and it is chalk, and that's the other place I'm going. The lack of surprises. The lack of surprises, and it's all because of that portal.
Well, Mark Packer the other day said Cinderella is dead.
It is.
Yeah.
Cinderella is
not
dead.
going to the
He said,
ball.
I'm not saying that in the first round somebody might win one, but he said that the Cinderella going Sweet 16, and he said she's
Elite
dead.
8, that's over.
What do you think has been the biggest upset in this tournament? Or you don't have to think. Maybe you can just look at the seeds and see that there was one, but
yeah, I don't.
nothing just jumps out at me.
And McNeese State beating Clemson in the
Probably
first
that-
round.
I think that's it.
That wasn't that big of a surprise to me. I don't.
That has to be it, though.
But it was a 12. Was that a 12 over 5, or was that
They were
13
5.
and 4?
Clemson was a
12
5,
and
so it had
5.
been a 12.
That game set for Clemson set a new low for offensive basketball.
They had
I'm serious.
13, didn't it, at halftime?
13
By
points.
By seed, Arkansas beating St. John's, I think, was the biggest. That was a 10 over a 2, but that wasn't really a surprise either.
Not with the conference that Arkansas come out of,
and not with what he was able to get to assemble a roster through the portal.
You were talking about the portal. I heard this Wednesday before there's still 16 of them. Said 64% of the players on the 16 left
came from
did
portal.
not start their career. Did not start their career at that school. So
What are they going to do?
That's the portal thing.
What are they going to do? Is the people that oversee this, are they okay with what's going on? Is this the way they want it? And now that you've let it get this way, how hard would it be to?
I don't think you can police it now. Because
Well,
if they try to, they're going to take it
go to court.
Yeah.
I've heard people on the radio asking how can they fix it, and I'm wondering what you mean by fix. I mean, this is just the way it is. I don't think anything needs fixed. This is just the new
norm.
way of college athletics.
Yeah.
Well, now aren't they going to cap the NIL at $20 million or so?
I don't know if it's capped, but I don't know the whole details, Mike, but it's like when revenue sharing starts.
Revenue,
going to be
starts next year.
And I don't know if there's a cap, but the way they talk like that may help try to balance it a little bit.
Because
I didn't hear the word cap called that, but I think that's what it is.
So that means revenue share. The universities will begin to share their wealth with the athletes, right?
I assume.
Will they be paid like?
I assume.
employees?
I don't know enough about it.
So how's that different from now?
I know it's not. It's not really.
I mean, are they
different.
not? I know some of it is okay. I heard that Cooper Flagg was the second highest paid athlete this year, $4.8 million.
Yep.
Okay, where'd that come from? I know he did a couple commercials. Did that help cover part of that? But they didn't air till the tournament started.
Well, he's got to deal with New Balance.
New Balance.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I guess that's a pretty big
$2 million
deal.
Probably.
Doesn't all the donations and everything come into a collective at each school and they dole it out?
I think every school's got their own way, but to a degree, I think you're right.
I just keep hearing that word collect.
You know, and I don't know her name.
Collecting is what they're doing.
But the lady at Duke, that's kind of like their GM. They've had one in place for a couple of years.
They were a little bit ahead of the curve on
yes.
that. She's been there 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Hired a GM.
If it wasn't Duke, and I'm a Duke fan, I would say, she's been there 30 years. You just
yeah. Well, I'll guarantee you now, every big-time program is going to the general manager type format to take some of the pressure off the coaches keeping up with all this.
Richard said there's 2 reasons UCLA's not a power like they were for 8 years in a row, back-to-back. All-world dominant players, Lou Alcindor. Yep. His spell check made him Lee. Lou Alcindor, which, of course, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar today, or Ice Kareem, as you've seen on the commercials.
Yep.
Bill Walton, 2 of the top players in the NCAA history on back-to-back teams for 4 years, and that's a big key right there too. For 4 years, not to actually Kareem was just 3.
Because freshmen couldn't play.
Freshmen couldn't play.
3 of varsity. Exactly. But now the freshman team was so good they beat those national champion varsity players, right, in an exhibition.
How long was that freshman rule then? Because remember, David Thompson didn't even play as a
70.
So Bill Walton would be my next question. Was Walton 4 or was he 3?
I would assume he was
Walton
3.
What, 3 or 4?
Did he play 3 or 4?
He played 4. No, he played.
Because I don't know.
He played 3. He played 3.
And then he says not to mention John Wooden as well, and he said that's my opinion, which, I mean that is good. Well, here's the way it is. Okay, we've seen Alabama have runs almost in football, almost like we have UCLA, and it's because when you're good and you are that powerful, everybody wants to go there.
You're a magnet.
Everybody wants to go there, and in basketball, it's actually easier because you're not going to take but about 15, 12 to 15,
12 to 13,
and that's it. Everybody, your best players on the East Coast even want to go play at UCLA in their heyday.
Well, then too, and when Wooden started his run, there was only 24 teams in the entire field. So
true.
Really, UCLA only had to win a couple games. On the West, they were always in the West,
and they were going to be
regional.
the West team.
I'm not taking away from their dominance, but it was a different.
What was it? 8 in a row, 7 in a row. I mean, you can't take that away. But you're right, Mike.
He had totally 10.
10 total, isn't it?
He won 10 total.
I mean, you don't take that away, but it's a different animal now when they went to the 60. Yeah. Well, 32 at first, and then at 48.
Now his last 64. Title was what?
75.
75. I don't know how many teams were in the field then? 48, 32?
No, sure. It wasn't 48. There might have been 32. I think that might have been close to the. When did State won in 74? And Maryland couldn't go. So at that time, I believe it changed that next year, and that might have kind of spurred it on when they were saying Maryland might have been the best team, and they weren't even in the tournament.
That's right. Could have been.
So it might have been 75, 76, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. But I think it just went to 32 to start with. Or wouldn't it have been 16 originally?
Mm-hmm, probably.
Ned says, talking about low scoring by Clemson, yesterday after getting off to an 11-0 start, the UNC women only scored 27 the rest of the game.
Yep.
That was a real low-scoring game.
Wow.
But they had talked that before the game. Said this will probably be a low-scoring game because they both were so good defensively.
So what was the score? That means
47, 38.
38, something like that. Yep. That also set back the cause of basketball. I watched a little bit.
So who's the favorite to win the women's right now? South Carolina, are they one?
They're one of them. UConn,
always one of them.
Hey, South Carolina had to
UCLA.
really scramble to defeat Who was it last night? I can't
but not Southern.
Maryland.
Southern Cal out of the picture now with the
girl hurt.
They're still in it.
They're in it. Yeah.
They're not one of the favorites.
No talk about them, though, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't know if
they can't win it without her.
I don't know.
Okay. I just checked.
They're a 2.5-point favorite tonight against Kansas State.
So you guys need to remind me. We need to talk about this toward the end of the show today, because when you brought up how many games you had to win the national title, back in the day, you didn't have to win, but what was it, 3
Probably
or 4?
4.
Yeah. And now it's 6. For some teams it would be 7 that they had to win, but that's probably not ever going to happen unless we go to a different format where everybody has to play 7. But just want you to know that in high school football, over the last so many years here, 4 years I think, maybe, whatever, we've had teams have had to win how many games to win? 6. Yeah.
And that's a feat.
So what do you think now?
That's tough.
Now your state champions are going to win 4.
Yep.
Only have to win 4 games.
Yeah, we probably need to talk about it. They came out with the playoff brackets.
Because I can promise you this, a team with a bye is likely going to win the state. So, the other teams will have to win 5.
Most of the time.
But the teams, whenever you're given, how many byes is it? 16?
16 byes.
16 byes in the first round.
Yeah.
So only 4 wins now to win.
It certainly makes the regular season more meaningful, doesn't it? I mean, as far as being able to earn that bye during the regular season.
Yeah, you'd like to have the bye, but then again, I talked with David Avery a little bit about it this week, and one point he made is the one thing that the first round games will be a lot more competitive now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all those powerhouses, you won't have to go play one of them in the first round.
Yep.
And
if David versus Goliath.
And I started going on forward and thinking, well, now you're going to get teams. Those teams with byes, they're going to get better teams in the first round, so they'll even be closer because they're going to get teams that are capable of winning a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So here's some
I like it.
history on tournament expansion.
Yeah.
It went from 8 teams to 16 teams in 1951.
Remember that, Mike?
And then in 1975,
just a little tight.
In 75, they doubled it from 16 to 32. And then it went to 40 teams in 79, then 48 teams in 1980, and then in 1985 it went to 64 teams. And then
so
2011 is when they added
48 to 64.
And that 85, that 1980, that was where they started counting that. I guess because you had 4 number 1 seeds, because they said that, the only time one seed that made it all 4 was in 85. In 2008, and they said it was back from 85. So that must have been when that kicked in.
Well, now it's going to get larger. I mean, they're already talking about what we've heard a few things. 72.
I've heard 72.
I don't know.
And I've heard this going to where everybody. It's going up one more. Like 92, 4. I've heard that too. I don't think that happens.
How do you do it?
I don't either.
Well, okay, if you got 48, wouldn't it go to 96? I mean, if you think, I'm just trying to break it down into where everybody plays, no buys. Surely they won't get buys again, will they? I mean,
well, if it went to 96, that would give a lot of buys.
Would that give buys? Okay, I got my numbers wrong then.
You'd have to double it to 128.
Yeah. Would everybody playing.
Yeah, let's not have that. Yeah, let's not go to 128.
I wish it was just a 64. I don't even like the play. The play-in games usually aren't even any good, and none of those teams have a chance at winning it. I think, was it VCU that made it from the play-in to the Final Four one year?
VCU.
Yeah, and then
I don't even remember that.
Shaka Smart.
And I'm thinking that when you were talking about that, I don't know if they made it to the Final Four. It might have been the Elite Eight, but that Mick Cronin bunch come out of there 4 or 5 years ago and went from there to maybe when Gonzaga beat them. Maybe that might have been, but I think they came out of that first 4 in.
Yeah.
Who do you think's the biggest surprise this year in college basketball? Is there one? I mean, is there really no surprises? I'll say this: honestly, I mean, Texas Tech, you just don't think about them. I know they went to the Final Four, didn't they?
That's right.
A couple
They
years
did.
back.
Went to the championship
2019.
game.
But, it's to
But,
me,
the Big 12 is a good conference. It's probably the second best conference. Or maybe, I don't know.
top to bottom.
SEC certainly
when you get in the tournament, I'd say they've been the most successful. Yeah, second most successful.
Second most successful.
Yeah, they got 2 teams left.
And the Big Ten has what?
One, just Michigan State.
Just Michigan State.
Yeah.
When you say the
Michigan
biggest
State
surprise,
looks pretty good.
and I don't know if you say in the tournament or all year, but just the strength of the SEC to me has been the story of the year.
Well, that's been the story of the year.
I mean,
14 teams
Yep.
out of 16
Yep.
invited to the dance.
And it wouldn't totally shock me if that is the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 SECs. I mean, I'd say it won't happen, but
I think the second biggest story has been the demise of the ACC, the once proud ACC.
and what do you think the reason for that is?
Mass coaching exodus
Agree
of
with that.
legendary type coaches is
part.
one thing. I don't know what the other.
The other, I
is.
think they were.
Yeah, but the
weren't on
biggest
top of
legend that left, the program hadn't skipped a beat.
That's right. I mean, Coach K and Shire is pretty much maintained their status.
I heard on one of the talk shows this week that the ACC chose not to participate as much in NIL.
I've heard that
to
too.
me, that's the second factor.
So
they were
gonna-
not behind the
you
curve.
going to get with the
ahead of
program,
curve.
or you going to?
There's definitely not the amount of talented,
No.
NBA caliber players in the ACC as
Yep, that's what I've heard.
as the other big conferences.
Yeah.
I can't. Maybe this is crazy,
But we got some new coaches just hired, like Will Wade at NC State, and who's the
Ryan
other one?
Odom at Virginia.
Ryan Odom at Virginia.
And-
I think
and-
those guys have
and I
already
think-
bought in.
I think Jay Lucas was a good hire at Miami too. Myself,
Yep.
Is
We know
Virginia
he
going to
was a good
score more than
recruiter.
40 a game now? Will they change their offense a little bit?
I don't know. I'm sure they will some, but I think he fits the profile of
He
Virginia.
does.
To me, that's your dad. Dad was an assistant for Terry Holland for many, many years.
That's right.
And
What is this?
Did I hear Larinaga was also on that staff at Virginia?
he was there when Ralph Sampson was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a heck of a
And I would have
staff.
never remembered that.
Well, if you looked at the picture, if you see him on the sideline, you probably wouldn't pick him out, David, because he had a head of hair.
Had
Yeah.
the hair then.
Yeah, I mean, he looked nothing like him
Like he did.
for the whole time at Miami.
I hate he's out of it. I liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
look who's gone, though. Coach K, Boeheim, who else?
Roy Williams,
Roy Williams and Larinaga.
and then Tony Bennett,
Tony Bennett,
at
and
Virginia.
a national champion.
Leonard Hamilton.
Leonard Hamilton.
and the
So
guy
it's
at
almost
Notre
a
Dame.
complete changeover.
Yeah, Mike Bray.
Mike
and
Bray.
he left earlier
it was just
than expected. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Bennett did too.
But
Yeah.
these guys.
Hamilton and Larinaga were at the age that it was
They had
at
to
least
get
kind
out.
of expected.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Bennett and Bray left early.
Yeah,
Right.
they were in their 50s, right?
When was
Right. Bennett's
Larinaga's
definitely
resignation? Didn't he do it right before the season started?
No, he started. It was at Christmas.
He started the
It
season.
was at Christmas.
That's even
yeah.
worse.
It
Which
was-
one?
It was
Larinaga.
like
Larinaga, yeah, they played 4 or 5
Yeah.
games.
So I'm checking out.
I mean,
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And Bennett was
Bennett was
pretty close to the
about
season.
2 weeks before the season
Who
started.
was the other coach that decided? There was another basketball coach, not in ACC maybe, but somebody else did the same thing when it got into the NIL stuff and everything. Just said, "Nah, it's not for me. I got to go." But I can't remember who it
Like
was.
you, I
It
can't
seemed
remember.
like
But
there was another,
I think you're right.
another name coach, big name coach that we saw resign. Who's the best up and coming coach?
I'm hoping it's John Shire.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he has to be on the list, but I think
yeah,
the guy at Florida does too, and I can't even remember his name.
yeah. Well,
Todd
Shire,
Todd Golden.
Shire's done a great job of recruiting and building the roster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
particularly this year. He really masterfully built a roster around great freshmen and then brings in some pieces that just fit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, they used the portal. They got some guys, but they weren't superstar guys. They were more.
No, you're right.
Those
Well,
were more
and
like
when you
role players.
And when I told you earlier that 64% of the Sweet 16 players didn't start it, I got to thinking myself, well, I said, Duke's got some, but Duke's in the minority on that front.
They are.
They plugged in people that could help their program, probably, 3 or 4 maybe, that didn't start there. But then I got to think, like Auburn, probably 90% of their team it didn't start there,
What did you say the average age is?
25.
Theirs was like 23. Auburn's average age, and I think in their starting 5, they said their average age was right at 23.
Yeah.
What do you think Duke's average age is? I'd say about 19, maybe 20. If they're lucky.
Probably.
Well, Sion James, I think,
he's
22.
22.
The Flag is 18.
And
Gillis is old.
Gillis.
He's
a
fifth year, isn't he?
This is his 5th year.
Yeah. But he's not one of the 5 starters.
No,
I mean, they got
not.
3 freshmen that start.
That's right.
And Tyrese Proctor's a junior, but he reclassed. He's the age of a sophomore.
Right.
And Cooper Flag is the age
he
of
reclassed
a high school.
Way.
Flag and Proctor are a year younger than their grade.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Duke's definitely the youngest. Malawach is a freshman. Knipple's a freshman.
Yeah.
So both of them are probably 19.
And Evans, who has played more of a significant role in the last half of the season, he's a freshman, right?
Yep. And then
Showtime Slim.
Lenny, don't look at my screen. I'm getting ready to pop my lyrics up.
Gillis is older, and Malik Brown. Is probably 21 or 22.
Yeah.
So it's a good mix. But, I mean, their best players are 18 and 19.
Yeah, true. That's right.
Yeah.
And Auburn's best players are 23.
23.
CF age.
They're mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially down in the paint.
Yeah, you said their starting 5 was older than 2 NBA teams. Starting 5, right? Yeah.
But these Duke freshmen, I've been saying it all year, these are the most mature group of freshmen as far as their, just the way they play, their decision-making, and on the court, they're a lot more mature than some of these previous classes.
Yeah, particularly for Flag and
Knipple. Yeah,
they really do make good decisions for their. I mean, they don't get flustered.
Has Flag had the best freshman year ever at Duke?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I
do.
I mean, they've been some great players, but I think Flag is.
Well, just a total impact on the game,
right?
In every phase.
Yeah, he's led them in every category,
right,
for the season.
I agree. That's
when
I thought
Arizona was making his run. Shire moved him to point guard. He brought the ball up and distributed it for the last 6, 7, 8 minutes of the game.
I would have probably said Zion Williamson had the best freshman year before Cooper Flag came along, but he missed some games.
He did.
But he didn't have the total impact
he didn't have
that Flag does.
Right.
You can look across.
He blocked some shots, but he wasn't a great defender. He just,
Flag passes really well.
Athleticism.
Some big highlights.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first time out here this morning. I'm going to give you I'm going to start. I'll do my lyrics to start this morning since I thought I had them up and ready. Let's see here. I feel a hunger. It's a hunger that tries to keep a man awake at night.
Ooh.
Back in a moment.
The Get Out and Ride sales event is underway at Full Throttle Power Sports in Lowell. Get up to $3,000 off select models of Yamaha side-by-sides. But that's not all. See the Suzuki King Quad with 0% financing for up to 36 months or $2,000 in customer cash back. And see the legendary Kawasaki Ninja bikes. And see the new Ninja Razor Pro lineup. All at Full Throttle Power Sports, 100 Indian Walk in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com.
Rhodes & Bill Oil Company in Lincoln has been serving the Piedmont of North and South Carolina since 1919. Sure, they deliver to your home with home heating oils. They'll help keep you warm, but they do a whole lot more. They feature bulk fuel delivery, on-site and commercial fueling, backup generator fueling, and farm and agriculture fueling. For home or business or farms, call on Rhodes & Bill Oil Company in Lincoln, 704-735-2508. Online at rhodesandbill.com, located at 1404 East Main Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too.
Buying a Bobcat is now easier than ever at West End Sales in Vail. Now get 0% APR financing. That means low monthly payments. Or you can get $1,200 instant rebates on selected models. Now is the time to buy. Like we said, it's easier than ever. Again, get 0% APR financing or get $1,200 instant rebate on selected Bobcat models at West End Sales at the Highway 1827 West intersection in Vail. Online at westendSales.com and like them on Facebook too.
This is Creighton Kell with Kell Insurance. We have been helping people for over 25 years with all their Medicare needs. We represent the same national and local companies as the insurance agencies you see on TV. And you know what? We can sit down with you one-on-one and help you find the right plan just for you.
Kell Insurance is located beside the Cultural Center and behind Gillum Realty in downtown Lincolnton. 107 North Cedar Street. Call 704-732-4646 and follow them on Facebook. Kell Insurance.
Look who just flew into town. Wild Birds Unlimited has expanded their nature shop, the latest in beautiful Denver, North Carolina. You'll want to take the short drive from Lincolnton for all your seeds and feeders, hobby guides, gift cards, and more. Philip and Renee look forward to seeing you soon, and tell them that WLON sent you. Wild Birds Unlimited, now serving Lincoln and Catawba counties. Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Scooters Coffee, we like to think of ourselves as daymakers. A quick stop at Scooters can mean a fresh start to the morning, a midday break, or an afternoon reward to a long, busy day. Scooters Coffee has hot drinks, cold drinks, protein shakes, smoothies, and don't forget their great selection of food items. And Scooters reminds you to have an amazing day with a sticker on every item. Stop by 689 North Highway 16, Denver today. Scooters Coffee, serving smiles every day.
Welcome back to Sports Talk. Glad to have you with us. David, Brett, Mike, Lenny here. Next hour and a half. Talking mainly basketball, but it was the opening week of Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah?
What, 2 days in, unless you count the Dodgers.
I do.
And I know Brett counts the Dodgers. Did they win again last night?
They did.
Yeah. Walk-off home run by Mookie Betts in the 10th.
So Detroit is hanging with them, 5-4, and what was last night?
8-5.
8-5.
In 10 innings.
10 innings. I think Detroit will be a playoff game. Just a tough place to have to open the season. Somebody had to start with the Dodgers already played a couple games, but somebody had this fictional opening day because did everybody play on Thursday?
No.
I didn't think so.
Because I was looking a little bit Tampa
so.
there. I've seen something about that. Yesterday was their opening. I'm sure there were others.
Talking about getting away from traditions, what country? Where did the Dodgers play?
Japan.
They played in Japan the first couple games. Dan Patrick said, "Why didn't they just play a couple exhibition games there? Would they not appreciate it just as much?" I don't know if they would or not, but I got nothing wrong with it. Nothing against it if they want to go out of the country and play. I mean, look, the NFL's doing it every year.
Yeah.
Has the NBA done anything like that where they've gone to a different?
Some too, hadn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Only Canada.
Yeah.
Kind of like hockey.
Toronto.
Yeah. I got no problem with it. Okay. Do you guys know this? Now, me and Brett's talked about this, so he's going to know the answer to this. But on Thursday, opening day, a player, and you may know, Lenny may already know why he follows baseball, for the 6th straight season, you know this, Mike?
Yeah, he was a Red Sox last year.
For the 6th straight season, this player homered on opening day.
I think it would, no. I was going to say Mookie Betts, but he homered last night. So.
It's not Mookie Betts. It's not that popular of a name.
Question. We know it.
It's not that popular of a name. Now, to me, he looks more like
the Hulk.
A weightlifter. He looks more like a bodybuilder that's playing baseball. But I mean, this is right up there to me with the Will Clark thing. When he hit a home run at the first at bat of every level of paid baseball. Can't say that anymore because the colleges are paid baseball. But Will Clark had the 1A home run, 2A, 3A, 4A majors all in his first at bat. He homered, and this guy has homered on 6 straight opening days, which is I don't know what the record was before that.
I don't know.
I'm going to guess maybe 2. That maybe somebody had hit home run on opening day twice in a row, but to do it 6 times, I mean,
I might be mad. It seemed like I had heard 5, but I might be wrong about that. But if 5 or not, he's the bear.
Well, the reason I thought I read that it said he extended his record, that he already had it last year, and he extended it, to now 6 games. But we'll give folks a chance at guessing that. My lyrics this morning, I'm going to get back to those here real quick. We do have one person that has correctly answered. Richard's got them.
I have no clue.
No clue, huh?
Say those again.
I'm trying to get there. You have to bear with me here, the way this thing works. I feel a hunger. It's a hunger that tries to keep a man awake at night. The next line is, are you the answer? I shouldn't wonder when I can feel you whet my appetite.
Ooh.
Yep. One of my favorite solo artists. You like that there, Mike? One of my favorite solo artists.
Well, I know Billy Joel's one of your faves.
And here's you another hint. No longer with us.
No longer with us.
Wow.
Yep. That is correct. No longer with us.
Well,
Richard got it correct.
Is it Eddie Money?
And yes, it is. And
Eddie Money.
Ned says the Duke team plays such great team ball. They're not selfish and easy to watch. And
yep.
To me, that, I mean,
you look at their assist to baskets, pretty high.
And when you recruit the players, what I was going to say, that's hard to do. Because when you recruit those players, they've always been the star.
Everybody's
by far.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, that didn't even cross my mind. Brett knows I didn't watch a lot of college basketball early on in the season, but I did pick it up, more and more, and especially as soon as the new year turned. But Knipple got on my nerves. He'd take a lot of shots I didn't think he should have been taking. Now I want him to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
I think he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Well, and that's probably when you seen him early, shot him. He was still a freshman. He still is now.
Yeah.
He's matured a little bit with playing with new teammates and getting some of that out of what you just mentioned. That I'm used to being the star.
And he can get to the rim too. I mean, he uses that body. 6'7", and he can power it up.
Yeah. I tell you what, Love got the best of him the other night. He was a scoring machine the other night.
I'm glad I don't have to see him anymore. I tell you what.
Can he carry that over to the NBA, that style? I mean, he's very fast. Very fast.
Yeah.
He gets his shot off. Yeah, he gets his shot off quick.
Yeah, I think he can be a good NBA player.
I do too.
I think he can play.
Yeah.
And I think he's like a six-man type.
I can't think of his first name.
Caleb
Love.
Caleb Love. But he was on fire there. He scored 13 or 15 straight.
I believe I
15 straight.
I believe.
Points.
When they got within 5, I just had visions of Kay's last game at Cameron or the Final Four. Oh, man.
Yep. But now he is. It's his last game, right?
I think
he's got to move.
Well, he's had his 5, but they are talking about maybe a fifth year. That's
no.
But it wouldn't apply to him because he's played 5.
He's played 5.
I read something that said his college career Caleb Love likely to have played his semifinal college game.
Too.
So I don't know what that means.
I wouldn't know what that means.
I don't know how he could come back.
Yeah, I'm like you.
I thought it was it for him.
It'd have to be a 6th year of eligibility because he played it. He came in, Roy Williams, played for Roy Williams a year. And Hubert's been there 4 years, even though he was at Arizona, so that's
yeah,
fine.
He
came
played
in
2
for
at
RJ,
Carolina and
RJ's
3
done,
at Arizona.
What I want to know is, Lindy, do you still feel good about Hubie?
I hadn't felt real good all year. I really don't.
This coming year is the.
Oh yes, I feel like I don't care.
I
don't care if you got a contract through 2030. Ask
contracts
Keats.
don't mean anything.
That's right.
Yeah, ask Keats. That's
yeah.
He had a contract.
I'm gonna be truthful with you. Belichick probably helped Hubert. It sounds crazy
by taking some,
but
pressure
there was so
off.
so much money was shelled out.
Yeah.
For him this year.
Couldn't afford to eat
and if you start looking over, you say, well, basketball, I don't think there's anything thinking about Hubert Davis in November. Well, they ought to be good again, but then when things start going south, but they had invested so much money in Belichick. Mm-hmm. I'd read somewhere earlier, but of course that was prior to that. I didn't know that contract had been signed in December either, but they were saying even then, no, that he's not going anywhere this year, and I thought, well,
not on the
it's a month, there's a month to go. We'll see. But then later on they came out about the contract and signing and all that. But I think I agree, David.
Is it recruiting or is it game coaching?
That's mine.
Or is it a combo? Or it's game
coaching? It's a little bit of both to me, but I think the biggest thing.
And when I say game coaching, I'm not talking about practice. I'm talking about in
game situations.
Yeah,
that's to me,
especially the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, they played such good defense against San Diego State, and they come out against Ole Miss, and they were terrible defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you account for that?
Yeah, true. Man, mine is bench
personnel. Look at the
personnel. I thought they were just too small this year.
Well, they were too small at the guard and no big
inside.
Man.
Yeah. If they would have still had Baycott, that would have made up for some of the for the size of the guards.
And that gets back to me. I think it's some of both. It's if you're North Carolina and you're a blue blood, you should be able to recruit. And I think they've lived on that brand. That's where they missed the boat. Mm-hmm. The brand still is important. The brand's still important at Duke.
Yep.
But the brand's important once you're there.
Yeah.
In this day and climate, because the brand now is
money.
This. Yeah, that's the brand. Now, if you get there then I think the brand works for you because but now you got to give up that brand and understand you got to pay up front to get the talent base. And so maybe Carolina didn't do that. Maybe that's why his recruiting wasn't as good. But, last week here I think I made the statement, name me the big men that have been brought in his 4 years.
Yeah.
And Roy Williams, the last 2 recruiting classes, he had 3 big men with Baycott, Walker Kessler, and Daron Sharp. Right. And Hubert's had 4 years, and name a big man. Jalen Washington.
They do have one committed for next year, right? Didn't I hear that they do have one committed for next year?
Well, he's a power forward. They do. Okay. He's supposed to be real good, but they still need a rim protector.
Right.
But they just had 2 guys enter the portal, including
Cadeau,
the point guard,
and Jalen Washington.
Why would Cadeau enter the portal?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Why, when you're
I'm gonna say this, and this was a guy that told me this. But now I take it for what it's worth. I had heard that he asked for $2 million. And that wasn't the amount they were
figuring on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now
they offered, but not. But now that was one guy.
Where's Cadeau from?
New Jersey.
Is he
originally? Yeah, he played.
UConn.
He played well. I'm hearing.
I don't think he's good.
I'm hearing. St. John's.
He's very small.
He is small.
He's very small, and he can play. He can shoot.
I don't think he's a great decision maker. I mean, I just don't.
That's been his. Yeah.
I don't think he's a high level point guard. I don't think he's good enough to play at UConn. I was thinking Rutgers when he said New Jersey.
Well, I've heard St. John's is.
That'd be tough too to make it on the floor there.
Well, I was looking here at ESPN. A kid who's labeled the top talent in the portal, New Mexico's Donovan Dent, he just committed to UCLA.
Just looking over your shoulder there.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I watched a little bit of that game with the Lobos, but I don't really remember him. But anyway, he allegedly is the best available player in the portal.
At that time, they were saying that, right at this current time.
We don't know who else is. I mean, there are going to be others, obviously.
But they were saying everybody was involved. And in fact, the rumor I was hearing yesterday was thought Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky is listed. Yeah.
UCLA, that kind of. But I think he is a.
Is he a big or is he?
He's a guard. He's a guard.
Okay.
He's a point guard.
All right.
Kentucky took a step forward this year, I thought. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what's weird is Calipari did too.
Yeah, they both did.
You know. I mean, both of them had success. You know, it's hard to believe that I didn't realize it till they kept talking about it over and over. Calipari, Arkansas started conference play 0-5.
Yeah, he did,
and was able to fight back and in a very tough conference.
And they got healthy. That
you realize Pope did what in his last 3 or 4 years? What Calipari wasn't able to do. He only won one game, right? One game in the NCAA tournament for
first
3 or 4 years.
First Sweet 16 since I forget they told the last night when they were going out. Said that was. I think it was good for both. I mean, it was good for Calipari. A change of scenery was needed, and Kentucky people didn't really. You know, they wanted name, but I think they've got the best coach they could have got.
They got a good
coach. Versus not getting name. You know?
Yeah.
Because they were going like more on a bigger name.
And he'll probably make a name for himself there if they leave him alone.
He did a good job at BYU.
I was going to say look at the team BYU. Good many of them guys were his.
Mm-hmm.
Now a couple of them came to Kentucky with him, but a lot of them were still.
He was able to put together a good roster quickly.
I want to get back to my lyrics real quick. Richard did get them. The guys in here, Brett guessed the correct artist as well, Eddie Money. Ned says another hint was he was a New York City police officer for a while. Yes, he was, but not only that, Ned, but his parents were both police officers in New York City. The late Eddie Money. Take Me Home Tonight.
Was that before his career went on, came together or after?
That would have definitely been before.
Yeah.
After you made rock star money, I don't think you get back in.
You're not going back on the beat.
Not in New York. You think about it.
Oh yeah,
that's a job right there. I read one time how many police officers you think they got in New York?
10,000.
It's over 10.
20. I was going to say
I think it's between
3,000.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I was throwing it out there.
I think it's between 10 and 15.
In your mind, I'm just thinking about this. Cut his hair. Put him in a New York police. He looks like a policeman. In the face. I mean, he'd have to shave and cut his hair, but he looked like a policeman. That's hindsight.
62-60 last night was the Houston win over Purdue. I think Purdue was one of the surprises to me this year to get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, well, they still had their two good guards from last year.
Didn't have the big guy.
Just lost Edey. But
how is Edey doing in the NBA?
Doing well.
Is he?
Fine. Yeah, he's starting to do pretty good. I think.
Okay. I just
he
hadn't heard much about him.
He plays for Memphis.
I mean, everybody thought he was like too slow and immobile to play in the NBA, but
he's averaging 9.8 rebounds.
Not
off the bench.
Yeah.
Speaking
trying
of
to find his
Houston
minutes, a little bit over 20 minutes a game.
Okay.
Speaking of Houston and Purdue, did you see the inbounds play at the end?
Yes.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was, wasn't it?
Really, it was a masterful.
Yeah, but the guy said that wasn't the designed play.
Really?
I think he said he was looking for. Is it Cryer? Is that the good guard?
Cryer.
Yeah.
Cryer.
And that just opened up. I think that was
just
like
happened.
Okay, so
backup option.
Even the inbounds pass didn't go to the person that
it was designed for. I think that's what he said.
Well, him thinking that quick and getting it back. It was the guy that threw the ball in, right?
Yeah. He stepped back in and got it.
To do that and that amount of time.
It looked like it was designed that way.
It did.
Oh, I'd say that's the way I drew it up.
But I did look like there's a guy come across the lane and went out, and then the guy fought because you had to go get him, and that just kind of opened it up. There was a guy over on the left wing. If you were looking facing the basket, a guy come across the lane out to the 3-point line.
How bad does it hurt to lose that way?
Oh,
you know, tough. I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I'd rather them shoot an open three. You know, by far
three
than the
get a layup.
Be wide open under the bucket for the return pass. Basically, is what it was. And the other game I slept through last night was, help me out, the other late one last night.
Auburn and Michigan.
Auburn and Michigan. Yeah, and when I fell asleep, it was a very close game.
Oh, Michigan led.
They were up about 9 points, 7, 8 points
early in the second half.
Early in the second half, and then
Auburn just made a really
switch.
big run, and they went from down 9 to up 9. They went on like a 20-2 run.
2 runs, what it was.
So, help me with it. In the Sweet 16, how many SEC teams were in the Sweet 16?
7.
Yep.
How many Big Ten?
There were 4.
4.
Yeah.
And now they're.
And you know what? That wasn't even getting mentioned though.
I know.
Because of the SEC.
They were having a pretty good tournament.
And there were 4 Big 12.
4 Big 12.
This is probably the Big Ten's best year in quite some time.
Oh yeah, because they always fly.
They always have a lot, but they just.
Yeah, Maryland, Michigan, and Purdue all losers in the Sweet 16, and then Michigan State advanced.
Yep. Now tell me the matchups. Michigan State has
Auburn.
Well,
we'll start with today. Tonight at 6, Florida and Texas Tech, and then at 8:45, basically Duke and Alabama.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
they should start on time tonight because there's no game.
Well, it's got them at 6:09 and 8:49.
Yeah.
So, tomorrow at 2:20, Tennessee and Houston, and then at 5.
Hey, that's a good one too.
Tomorrow at 5 is Michigan State, Auburn.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm. You know.
All the 1 seeds are favored.
What's the line on Duke, Alabama?
6.5. Over under is at 174.5. That is a lot of points.
You know, it was very surprising to me the other night to see Duke hit 100.
Yeah,
but they had to hit 100.
They had to.
You know what I mean? They had to score, and then what Alabama did on the same night.
Yeah, just
how many points?
113.
113 points.
25 threes, 51 attempted.
Yeah. Yeah.
They shot 66 shots, and 51 of them were threes.
Duke better learn how to defend the three really well.
Yeah.
They scored 62 in the second half.
I think this is something that Alabama will see tonight that they haven't seen. I guess it's kind of a Carolina thing. Sears will see James on that, so they'll see a big guard. He'll see a big guard. He's not a real big guard. He's almost he's almost R.J. Davis side, maybe just a slight bit bigger. So he's going to see James on him tonight.
He's going to have much bigger
size on him.
And I wonder,
not saying he won't score, but
But Alabama, other than him, they're not a small team. I mean, they're pretty big. They've got height similar to Duke. It's just Sears is small.
Right.
Who's that guy that plays inside that's for Alabama? It's really
Grant Nelson.
Oh, my gosh. Where did he come from?
South.
One of the Dakotas.
One of the Dakotas. Really? Second year. He's going to beat Carolina last year.
Yeah, he had an awesome game.
He's really
good. He went off on Carolina
really
last year in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, the games I've seen him play, he was outstanding.
And he had an injury coming into this tournament.
Yeah, he did.
But I think he's back to playing his normal minutes.
I wonder how much of a factor defensively Malik Brown will be. He played a little bit, a little stress.
Yeah, he didn't.
Against.
He looked a little timid doing, doing the things he normally does. I think he did have a couple of steals and deflections in that game, but
like you said,
not very many minutes.
The pain he is in at the end of during the ACC tournament, that probably makes you leery.
Yeah.
Even though, he's obviously cleared to play.
Cleared.
Yeah. Only played 4 minutes the other night.
Yeah. But he's such a defensive presence. It'd be great if he could get in there a little longer against this team because they can light it up.
That sounds like the wind's blowing back there. I was Lenny turned
his mic around.
Messing with the phone piece. We'll take that part off. Might help. Oh, me. Did you give all 4 matchups?
Yeah.
You said all 4 matchups. So, your mic up next. Lyrics.
Oh, I'm up. Okay.
This will take 15 minutes. Okay, we'll take a break.
No.
Mine are always ready before I get here, so you don't ever have to ask if I'm ready.
We'll let Mike go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fee, fi, fo, fo, fum.
There you go. I thought that was a nursery rhyme. We'll be back in just a moment.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Make 2025 the year you move into your new home from Key Builders of Lincoln. Let Key Builders help you make your dream home a reality and do it this year. Visit them online at keybuildersnc.com and check out their photo galleries. They are a licensed general contractor with over 20 years of building history and experience. Make 2025 the year of your new home. See your dream come true at Key Builders, 1459 North Aspen Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook too.
For where 2 or 3 have gathered together in my name, I am there in their midst. Matthew 18:20. You are invited to gather with us at Rhine Heights Methodist Church, located at 520 Madison Street, just up from Betty Ross Park. Sunday school meets at 10, and worship follows at 11 every Sunday. Follow us on Facebook for special service announcements. Join us Sunday at Rhine Heights Methodist Church.
Buying a Bobcat is now easier than ever at West End Sales in Vail. Now get 0% APR financing. That means low monthly payments. Or you can get $1,200 instant rebates on selected models. Now is the time to buy. Like we said, it's easier than ever. Again, get 0% APR financing or get $1,200 instant rebate on selected Bobcat models at West End Sales at the Highway 1827 West intersection in Vail. Online at westendsales.com and like them on Facebook too.
Well, welcome back. Mike Painter, Richard Howe have solved.
Wow, I thought Mike's it might be tough.
Lyrics this morning, and
it might be a challenge.
Kind of goes along with the NCAA. Basketball.
Kind of been doing that lately.
Brett's first words were, "You trying to jinx them?"
I know. No, trying to spur them on.
Read them again.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I have to minimize. Okay, fee, fi, fo, fum. Look at Molly now. Here she comes, wearing her wig hat and shades to match. She's got high heel shoes and an alligator hat.
There you go. Alligator hat. That's a good one. Everybody's ought to have an alligator hat, should they not? He's trying to give it a little, I guess, a little Duke theme this morning with
that's it.
Devil with the blue dress. Bye. Go ahead.
Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels.
Yep.
1967.
Also had hits with, or a hit, maybe just one more.
C.C. Ryder.
C.C. Ryder.
Yeah.
Good Golly Miss Molly. I think he did.
Yeah, he had another one. Yeah, or two. That's.
Yeah.
I thought Good Golly Miss Molly was just a part of the other song. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, well, I think he did. Didn't he?
I think it's
two
just
songs?
in the one you did.
He might have.
I think he said. I think those lyrics are just in part of that
leads
song.
right into it.
Because he calls her Molly. Yeah, it is. You're right. That's the one. Good. He says, "Good golly, Miss Molly, you sure like to ball."
Ned says on Mike's lyrics, maybe the next words are, "Look at Molly now, here she comes."
Yep.
Don't know the artist though.
It is.
Mitch Ryder.
Yep.
Mitch.
Look at Molly now.
Ryder.
Then he breaks into "Good golly, Miss Molly" later in the song.
Yep. That's I don't know what that's.
He could have had two big hits, but instead he combined them and was a one-hit wonder.
Do you know who originally put out "Good golly, Miss Molly"? Anybody?
Little Richard.
Little Richard. Good job. Good job.
I was going to say, the first one I thought of was Fats Domino, so I was in the right.
Yours in the right genre. R&B from the 50s, yeah.
Let's see. Roger says, day I have, I don't know what that means. Day I have a gator. Oh, the day I have a gator hat is when donkeys fly.
Oh.
And that's Roger pulling for those volunteers to go on and win the national title.
Oh, yeah.
I've told you guys, and I will not back down from it yet, but I have Florida beating Duke in that national title game.
Yeah.
And who's Florida's matchup?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got the easiest. They got the easiest matchup.
I think so.
In this round. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win, but they've got the best matchup. The rest of them are heavy, man. The rest of them are
maybe they deserve it after having to play UConn in the second round
so early.
Yeah, who drew that up? You know, I mean, they could easily lost that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who in the world drew that up?
I think any of those teams, Duke, Florida, they were saying, please don't let that be the 9 game in our bracket.
Yeah. Well, I had been reading that UConn was going to be an 8 seed, and when I saw Duke pop up in the East, I was scared to death UConn was going to be the 8 right there.
Yeah, like you and I talked, David. I don't think UConn could put 6 games together, but on any day, any game, they could beat anybody.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know.
And they could easily won that game.
They
that
sure
day
could have,
and knocked them out.
They sure could have.
You know, that's
they played great.
They
that
did.
Day. Florida was just a little better.
And Hurley was so nice and pleasant after the game.
Yeah, until he got to the tunnel.
Saw Scott Drew of Baylor.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until later on that day, the next day when the tunnel incident. But because I thought he was pretty gracious.
And who was he talking to?
But then he got emotional at the press conference and broke down. Right?
Wasn't the Baylor players standing in the tunnel?
Yeah.
Baylor's
Scott
more to
Drew
the players.
Scott Drew.
Scott Drew.
What did he say without using profanity? What did he say?
Don't let them F you like they F'd us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Is he talking about
Something
the bracket
like
or?
No, I think he was talking
Not
about
the game. About the officiating.
That's the way they're talking about the officiating. The way I understand.
Yeah.
Like maybe he thought.
Well, he thinks that every game.
Yeah,
now, don't get me wrong. He's a
Florida
good coach.
got the
He's
calls
a really
because
good
they were
coach.
the 1 seed,
and
he was warning Scott Drew that Duke might get the.
Well, what they should have said. What do you feel like you got the calls the last 2 years?
Yeah,
you know.
You're right, David.
He's fiery.
He's a good coach. He's a good X&O. He's a good coach.
He just don't know when to be quiet.
I can envision him having. Well, he has meltdowns on the floor anyway. But I can see him at some point in time experiencing the Bobby Knight.
Yep.
Somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
He's on that on that level.
I just wonder if his treatment of players.
I don't think he does the players that way.
Better than
I might be wrong
Bobby
because
Knight.
he was able to get them there. So obviously he's
word hadn't leaked out if he's you know.
And the way things are
a
today,
drill
if he treated players poorly, they would stop coming.
True.
That's right.
It stopped coming.
Ultimately, that's what happened at Indiana.
Yeah.
It would get out in a hurry, too. I mean.
Yeah, that's when Knight's
social media.
Yeah. He started to tail off his last years in Indiana. Couldn't get them to come.
But his treatment of officials is just really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your just a real quick yes or no question. Will they bounce back next year and be a top 5 team? I bet they will.
When the game was over, I said, this team, if people stay, this team, because this was a young team.
Yep, I bet they will. I bet they'll be right there and be the team to beat.
And they've had a good recruiting class coming in too.
Yeah, they're going to be a contender for years.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
You know what? He may have been too much over the top to go to L.A. and be the Lakers coach. Remember about a year ago they were trying to hire him and all that. It looks like Reddick.
No, I think he's a college coach.
Yeah,
I think he fits.
Is there any other college job he might be lured to?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so now. I mean,
we know now he's not going anywhere, that he can't live where he lives because.
Right.
And I guess y'all
one person he listens to is his wife.
His wife. That's the one I was going to mention. There's only one person that's got the whip on him, and that's her.
Yeah.
What she say? He couldn't even carry the trash out. All he was good at was coaching basketball. He didn't even carry the trash out. Right.
He's a northeastern New England area type guy.
Right.
I couldn't see him going to like UCLA or USC or somewhere. Or
no,
I couldn't see him in the.
I couldn't see him in the deep south either.
No.
Yep. He's right at home right now, right?
I mean,
why would he want to? I mean, why would you want to go to another school anyway? Because
the Kentucky job was open last year. He didn't go to that. I mean, that's one of the more prestigious jobs.
He was calling the big names.
But now is UConn not prestigious?
I think so.
Yeah. How many national titles they have?
They won 6 national titles.
Is it 6?
6, yeah. But they're still not. They still don't have the following like Kentucky does. They're not on that level.
No,
they never will be.
Here's the only place.
Even if they win 10 more,
I could have seen him going, but not now. But not now because, when he got to UConn, his first 2 or 3 years were just so.
Piddling.
If Jay Wright had quit a couple years earlier, I could have seen him going to Villanova because that's kind of fits the same protocol, and it's even a little bit closer to New Jersey, But by the time Wright left, man, his team was there. Then,
Speaking of Villanova, did you hear about how the Maryland coach is trying to play possibly taking the Villanova job unless he gets more money and more players and more NIL money?
Well, I was going to ask if you had heard anything because that was the rumor I heard. He's playing them more than I know.
Did you see the Maryland fans booing him before their game?
No, I didn't see
because of the comments that he made?
Because it was pretty much a done deal that he's
that was kind of way I
going
heard
to Villanova as soon as Maryland got put out. Yeah. When they were leaving, I don't know if it was when they were leaving Maryland's campus to fly to wherever they went, or if it was when they were leaving the team hotel. But anyway, he was walking through where a bunch of Maryland fans were, and they were booing him.
Yeah.
Before they even played their game. Their Sweet 16 game.
We got to face it, and these coaches and these fans have got to face it too. If you're going to win, you got to bring the checks.
Yeah,
it's true. And college athletics, and if Maryland's not willing to pay the checks, the coaches aren't going to stay.
What did Tom Cruise say? Show me the money.
And although Mike Powell hammers every coach that leaves for another job,
well, I mean, okay, but then don't pay any attention to a press conference when they're hired, because this one guy, he actually was a coach of 3 different teams in 1 year. What was his name?
The guy, DeVries.
DeVries, yeah. Just don't listen to any press conference because it's all bull. We know that.
It is.
I mean,
you got to say the right things in the press conference.
Thing in the press conference.
You know what I mean?
But it doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike's favorite coach of all time is the guy at Missouri football.
Drink the water.
Stayed at App 1 year.
1 year.
Yep. And the poor guy, I know, I mean, he like tripled his salary to go to Missouri. I wouldn't have done it either.
Oh no! Hey, go where the money is. But it's just
and he's having some success there too.
Yeah.
There's a time to say when you're interested in leaving or interested in other jobs. And
this guy really blew it because now the Maryland fans, he couldn't come back.
Well, that's
anyway.
kind of I think back 20 years ago when Roy Williams was at Kansas in the Syracuse game in the championship. He denied it was a done deal, but he denied it. Even in the dressing room after he just lost to Kansas, he
you have
said,
to.
"I don't give a F what's going on in North Carolina, you know. But yeah, and it was a done deal. I mean, you know. But today, in the society we live in, what's the word you want? The shock you want to get out of it. I don't understand, you know.
Well, let me ask you this, Lindy. It had
it worked out for both in that case.
Yeah.
And Williams wasn't Williams the Dean Smith's pick upon his retirement. Then he had to go to who was the assistant?
Guthridge
because Williams wasn't ready.
Well,
yet, right?
I think this is me thinking. I think Dean Smith, the loyalty thing, Duke, Carolina, it's very loyal. The programs. I think he knew at the end of his last year, Dean Smith, he wasn't coming back. But there would have been such a push to hire Roy Williams because you got all season that he thought, man, I'm just going to wait here to the last minute. He made this. I wait on I wait and see if I can get my batteries recharged over the summer, and that might have been true. But I think he wanted Guthridge because of his loyalty
to the program.
That they'd have to hire. They'd have to hire him if nothing else as an interim.
Because they didn't have time
because he felt like he owed it to him, you know. That's kind of my. But I heard this. I heard that Dean Smith was not when Roy turned it down when they hired Daugherty. Because Roy,
I wish he was still there.
Because Roy had said that, you know, he wanted to be loyal to his players at Kansas.
Yep.
The rumor I heard was that Dean Smith wanted, and he didn't. Matt Daugherty was not his first choice. That he wanted Rick Majerus, to come in as kind of a caretaker for 3 or 4 years. Then Roy would be
ready.
Prepared to come in because he'd brought in a big time recruiting class, and Roy had promised the players, I'll be there, you know.
Rick Majerus is an underrated coach. And, that guy could win
but
wherever he went.
They said the athletic director had already moved towards Daugherty. Now,
you realize that ruined Daugherty's life as a coach because he had it going at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They liked him.
Right.
It's crazy.
With 1 year's experience. I mean, and I think maybe that's what Dean Smith was thinking. He's not ready. He's got 1 year of head coaching experience.
And it turns out he wasn't.
And that's true, yeah.
Wonder what he's doing now.
He lives over a color analyst.
Yeah, he lives over in the Mooresville. I think he's did some scouting for the NBA.
He does have a law degree. He was, I don't know. That's a good question.
Ned asked me to announce this, and I will. He says, as many high school teams that don't have JV softball this year, the North Lincoln coaches created an in-season tournament. That is today. The tournament, there'll be 5 games starting at 8 a.m., so it's already underway. Admission is $10 for all day. Teams are North Lincoln, East Lincoln, West Lincoln, North Iredell, and Mooresville that are in that. Sounds like more like maybe, I don't know.
And where's it at?
Might not be at North Lincoln. Might not be a round robin because that'd be too many games, but I guess it's just maybe a single or double elimination.
Dude, I was looking at
tournament.
the standings you posted. North Iredale's on top in softball in the Western Foothills. That's the way it looked.
I can't remember, Mike. I have slept since then, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Now, I know they were on top in baseball until last night.
I thought I noticed both sports.
North Iredale and North Lincoln split in baseball because North Lincoln won last night.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, beat them 7-3, but North Iredale had one on Tuesday. You know, that's one of those conferences they play same team twice in 1 week.
That's the same thing with the Southern Piedmont 1A2A. They play the same teams twice. I like that.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to face the same pitcher twice, and that's why a lot of coaches, especially in baseball and in softball, you do have to face the same pitcher twice.
Yeah, right.
Or 8 times, no matter how many times you play them, you're going to face that same pitcher. But I wonder how many softball teams there are out there that use 2 pitchers on a regular basis.
Not a lot.
Because you usually just jump on that dominant pitcher and let them pitch.
About every game.
And what year, we should do this pool right now and say, what year will it be whenever they come out and say, well, we've realized now that even if throwing underhand fastball, there is some wear and tear. Because it's going to happen one day.
Yep.
It's going to happen one day, and they're going to limit those.
Because these women now, but in college, I mean, they're throwing it hard.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And it's just like anything you do over and over and over and over can't be good.
No.
not 100% anyway. But there you go. That's a tournament this morning at North Lincoln. Let's see. What else did he send me here? Oh, never mind. My phone jumped around a little bit there. Just a couple things that just jumped out on my mind. Let's see. Brett, let's talk about your Dodgers off to a 4-0 start. Major League Baseball
first
underway.
time since '81.
Really?
Yeah.
Last night it was Mookie Betts with providing the heroics walk-off home run, a 3-run homer, I'm assuming.
Yes, and they were down. Detroit scored 2 in the top of the 10th, so the Dodgers scored 5 in the bottom.
Wow, I didn't know they scored 5.
Yeah,
Didn't Betts he had 2 home runs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He had another one early.
And Betts missed the 2 games in Japan. He had some kind of sickness where he lost 20 pounds.
20 pounds.
Yeah, 20 pounds.
And he's only about, I don't
He's
know,
got
175 to start with. He's not
he was
big.
not a big guy. I mean, I thought he was at 165, 170 to start with.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Great
20 pounds for him's
That'd be
a big deal.
Great bowler.
Yeah.
Several 300 games.
He must have got a hold of some bad sushi over there or something. I don't know.
No, I think the sickness started right before they left for Tokyo. And he went, but then he came back early.
You know, David, the guy that hit the home run for Boston, same way. Will Abreu or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They said he had lost 20 pounds. Must have been similar viral infection and I looked at him the other day before I thought, he don't look as big as he did.
Yeah,
and they said he lost 20 pounds.
He was a stocky guy.
Yeah.
He was definitely a stocky guy last year. He would get it back, more than likely. Ned sends me the schedule real quick. I will mention it. The 8 a.m. games, North Lincoln, Mooresville, followed by East Lincoln and Mooresville. East Lincoln, North Iredale, West Lincoln and North Iredale, and then West Lincoln versus North Lincoln. That's the finale at 3 o'clock today. So games go from 8 o'clock this morning till 3 p.m. this afternoon. So there you go. Glad to do that.
Let me ask you guys something about college football. Of course, Deion Sanders has been linked with a couple of NFL jobs, but I see where he just signed a
he's not going anywhere.
$54 million contract with the Buffaloes.
Yep. And next year, Mike, if things don't happen the way the Giants want them to happen, and his son is playing in New York, and they fire the coaching staff, and Deion will move right in.
Yeah.
In spite of the big contract.
Yeah, Brian Dable and Joe Schoen. This is they got to do something this year, right?
Absolutely. That's why they're picking up every quarterback that's out
there. Are they still going to go with the quarterback for their number 3 pick, you think? I hear Jason Dart out of Ole Miss.
Okay, so now are we hearing Dart ahead of Shedeur?
I was hearing Shedeur, but maybe that's changed.
I've heard both.
I heard that.
When did Dart move in front?
Well, I read something about
Shedeur.
The Giants brass went down there and watched him work out, and they've been in communication with Dart. I don't know. We'll see.
So I'm kind of scared for the Giants. If you go down there and base everything you're going to do on one workout, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they've studied a lot of game film also, but I don't know what order these quarterbacks are going to be taken. But
I think Wilson can help them for 1 year. I think they can be a little better. But
and who's the other one they got? Jameis?
Jameis.
Yeah, Winston and Wilson.
How about my boy Tommy DeVito, my boy? Tommy Colcuts or whatever.
He needs to go back to the Bronx if that's where he's from. I don't know where
Slinging
he's from.
pizzas.
He would be a good story if it worked out, but I just, I've
always liked him because, as Brett knows, being a movie guy, wasn't that one of the characters in Goodfellas? Brett,
I think so.
Yeah, Joe Pesci. Played Tommy DeVito.
Well, I just figured he was kin to Danny myself, so it had to be some kin to Danny DeVito.
I think it was Joe Pesci's character.
Pesci's
and how would you like, how'd you like to see Danny DeVito playing quarterback for the New York?
What was
Giants?
that line? I amuse you.
I think
you
his wife would have a better chance.
Yeah. Who turned out? Who is luckier, Daniel Jones or the Giants? You know, I mean, Daniel Jones might, at some point have a little better career. The Giants, I don't know. The last few years, the Giants, they made the playoffs one of those years, but
was that a fluke year with Jones?
I think it was one and done.
Yeah, one and done. They were 9-7. They won a game, didn't they?
Yeah. I would like to see him do well. I mean, he's a local guy. He's Charlotte Christian,
Duke guy.
Yeah,
Duke grad.
But he needs to be around people that can coach the quarterback position.
Yeah.
As a lot of them do. I mean, everybody's not Patrick Mahomes when they step on the field.
Well, who was the guy that coached up Baker Mayfield at Tampa? I mean,
well, tell me.
Was he the former? Is he the current Panthers coach? I'm trying to remember.
He was an offensive.
He was offensive.
Okay.
Coordinator, I believe he was.
I believe he was.
Yep. Yeah, Mayfield's looked a lot better.
I believe he was the offensive.
So that lends credibility to what you said. You got to have the coaching at that position.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what the Giants have lacked, or one of the things they've lacked over the last 5 years. So,
because in a lot of ways, Jones had. I mean, he's 6'4", he's mobile. I mean, maybe not the greatest arm, but you feel like he could have done better with better coaching.
All right, I'm gonna ask you something. Answer this real quick. They play 17 regular season games. How many games do you picture Dallas winning? I know I'm switching on you for a minute, but I'm gonna make a point here. In 17 games, what? Okay, just give me the minimal amount. You think they'll go at least 9-8?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm going 10.
Okay.
10-7.
All right, the Eagles are going to win more than that.
Yeah,
most likely
13.
Washington is likely to win more than that. So what's the
now.
Giants going to do? They're going to be looking for a new coach next year at this time.
Yeah, they're going to be fourth.
They are. They are in the wrong division to get things turned around right now.
That's a good division.
That is 6 of their games right there. And
that is now one of the best divisions in football when you consider the Eagles and the emerging
that one in the AFC West.
No, you were right.
AFC West is pretty awesome too, even though the Raiders are in it. No offense, Rodney, but the Raiders. I'm hoping the Raiders can rebuild now with the guy from Seattle.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see the Raiders.
Geno Smith at quarterback, and
I like it when Chicago's good, Washington's good.
Pete Carroll.
The Raiders are good. Some of those. I like those storied franchises to be good.
Yeah, well, the NFC East was, growing up, that's what we watched. That's what you had on TV is
Washington.
NFC East games. Mm-hmm. Well, they had the Cowboys and Washington both on a lot, which means you also saw the Giants and the Eagles a lot.
The Cowboys were always the late game. The Redskins were the early game.
Yep.
Hey, we grew up on Billy Kilmer and Sonny Jurgensen.
If you want to watch the Falcons, you turned it to Channel 7.
You did.
Coming out of Spartanburg.
That's right. Yep, you could watch. It might be a little fuzzy, but you could see that Falcon game for sure. Let's see, a couple more comments coming in. Ned says, "TMI, too much information on Matt Doherty. He created Doherty Coaching, a company that provides leadership coaching to executives."
Okay.
Began after the firing from UNC. He has a segment on WBT's Brett Winterble. I don't know that. Brett Winterble show. WINTERBLE. Not familiar with that one. Jason says, good morning. You want to talk about the economy impact on Deion has while at Colorado 2 years ago when he was hired. Deion signed a 5-year, $25 million contract. And the AD mentioned they didn't have all the money raised to pay Deion, but they will get the money. So now 2 years later, he's getting a raise, more than doubling his salary. Yep. I just wonder. Well, I mean, he's got it going on. It's a program that's just getting better each and every year. I look for them to get better again this year. But if he gets that opportunity to coach where one of his sons are in the NFL, he's going.
He's going.
That's the only reason he would leave.
And he's probably got, we probably don't know the fine details of the contract. There's probably buyouts in there for less money.
Yep. Wonder who the highest paid coach is in the NFL. You know, and wonder who the highest paid coach is in all of college football, and wonder how those salaries.
We got a number of guys around that $10 million a year mark. Don't
compare.
We? DeBoer at Alabama, maybe. I'm not sure.
Who?
Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen DeBoer at Alabama.
I would say Kirby's
probably
at the
He's
top.
probably
like
the
I'd
top.
Seen something.
Kirby might be at the top in
he
the
may
college
be in that
ranks.
$12 million category a year.
Who you think's the top in the NFL?
That says Andy Reid, $20 million a year.
$20 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
You got any others on there?
No, it doesn't have
a list.
A list. Now John Harbaugh just got an extension at Baltimore. I don't know what the numbers were.
Well, he's not racking up the rings that Andy is.
No,
no,
not yet. Anyway,
it says the Bears hired Ben Johnson for $13 million a year, which made him the 7th highest paid NFL coach.
And he's never head coach.
Never
one
been
game.
a head coach.
Not in the NFL anyway.
So that means there's 5 other ones in between that $13 to $20 million a year range.
The Bears need to turn it around, man. Chicago is a sad sports city.
I wonder what Pete Carroll got when he went to.
Yeah, Pete Carroll will be one to
Vegas.
But I would like to know now what the top college football coach is making per year, and it might be more than NFL guys. You know.
Am I making this up, or did I think I heard Kirby Smart $12 million?
Pete Carroll around $15 million a year.
Does he?
Wow.
Yeah. You hire somebody. How old's Pete? 71?
72,
70, yeah.
73.
And he makes this kind of hey. I like it.
Good work.
I like
find it. Ain't that the old
saying, maybe.
Kirby Smart, 13.2. Ryan Day, 12.5.
I forgot about Day.
Dabo, 11.5.
So they're not in the ballpark with Andy Reid.
No,
about 6 or 7 million below.
Dan Lanning, Oregon. Sarkisian at Texas. Lincoln Riley at USC. Those are all over 10. Kalen DeBoer, 10.2.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, 10. Dion, 10. Brian Kelly,
so Belichick
9.9.
makes 10. What's Hubert make?
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
I think Carolina's de-emphasizing basketball.
Nah.
For football.
Well, I mean, there's different ways to look at it, but, you know, I guess they knew that's the only way they were going to get that particular coach was because somebody else would pay him.
I think
Hubert Davis, $1.25 million a year.
And Belichick's 10.
Cheap.
Yeah.
That's on the cheap.
Hubert coaches 3 times as many games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably contract, and then he's probably got radio shows. You know, that's where
he will also make $1.7 million in supplemental compensation. And the contract increases each year. It looks like.
Wait, but one more increase if you don't turn it around.
So what's your bottom line?
Lenny Trash and Hubert, I just don't feel
Lenny,
real comfortable.
what's your bottom line next year? Sweet 16 or bust? What are you thinking for Carolina to keep Hubie?
I wouldn't say Sweet 16, but I hate to say that. I think they're going to be struggling right there again next year.
Yeah.
Late, probably making
the tournament.
And that's not going to.
The good news is the ACC's not that strong right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
so, you know,
That's
where'd they
right.
finish this year? 5th, 4th?
Something like that.
Yeah. They were the 5 seed in the tournament.
It's not a stout league right now, but but it could be a lot better next year if the teams do.
I really think it will be better. If people stay because it was a young.
Well, it's going to take.
It was a young league.
It's
going to
take
go
money.
out and, I think more teams are going to jump in, and I think the new coaches
they're buying into the NIL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
3 new coaches, right, or 2?
Right. It's going to take. It's going to take
at least 4.
4. Yeah, I forgot about
to make it better.
I forgot about Jay Lucas. At
and the
Miami,
guy at
right.
Florida State.
Florida State. That's 4. Yeah.
And Ryan Odom and Will Wade. And is there
Will
another?
Wade.
Am I forgetting somebody? Yeah. Well, no.
Before we go to Brett's lyrics, we need to come up with, and we'll take anything that our audience wants to give us. We made a point this morning. I think it's before Lenny got here. It's not March Madness anymore.
No.
It's not March Madness anymore because it is. April, man. No, I ain't going to the April thing. It's just not Madness anymore.
No, it's not.
There's no upsets.
So
the upsets are just about all gone.
That moniker doesn't work anymore.
So if CBS changes what they call it, what would it be? That's what we need to come up with. March what?
Sadness.
March's richest. That's what it's going to be, right? March's richest. That's who's going to be. That's who's going to be in your March's
Mega Million.
What do you guys think of the various coverage by the panels? You're still good on Barkley.
Love it.
Kenny Smith and
love it.
How about the guy that replaced, unfortunately, the late but great Greg Gumbel on CBS?
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's just not as well known yet.
No.
Right. Give him some time. He's a good moderator or whatever.
Right.
It may be not a moderator, whatever he does there. Right. Reins them in and keeps them in line. He's just a good host. A good host is what he is. So, but if you got Barkley on TV, I'm watching.
Yeah.
I've said for many years, if I can pick one person, especially an athlete, that I can spend 24 hours or spend one day with, Charles Barkley would be my number one pick.
He's so much fun.
Because you're going to have a pretty good time.
He's unfiltered, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Not like Stephen A.
Yeah.
Who's unfiltered in a not so good way.
But he's rich.
Oh yeah.
He got paid.
He got paid.
Brett's lyrics are
Sunshine, blue skies, please go away.
Sunshine, blue skies, please go away. And don't forget, on sports trivia, name our guy that just hit his 6th consecutive opening day home run this past week. 6 years in a row, he's done it on opening day.
Already got it.
We'll be back in a moment.
The Get Out and Ride sales event is underway at Full Throttle Power Sports in Lowell. Get up to $3,000 off select models of Yamaha side-by-sides. But that's not all. See the Suzuki King Quad with 0% financing for up to 36 months or $2,000 in customer cash back. And see the legendary Kawasaki Ninja bikes. And see the new Ninja Razor Pro lineup. All at Full Throttle Power Sports, 100 Indian Walk in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com.
Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln has been serving the Piedmont of North and South Carolina since 1919. Sure, they deliver to your home with home heating oils. They'll help keep you warm, but they do a whole lot more. They feature bulk fuel delivery, on-site and commercial fueling, backup generator fueling, and farm and agricultural fueling. For home or business or farms, call on Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln, 704-735-2508. Online at rhodesandbill.com, located at 1404 East Main Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too.
Buying a Bobcat is now easier than ever at West End Sales in Vail. Now get 0% APR financing. That means low monthly payments. Or you can get $1,200 instant rebates on selected models. Now is the time to buy. Like we said, it's easier than ever. Again, get 0% APR financing or get $1,200 instant rebate on selected Bobcat models at West End Sales at the Highway 1827 West intersection in Vail. Online at westendSales.com and like them on Facebook too.
This is Creighton Kell with Kell Insurance. We have been helping people for over 25 years with all their Medicare needs. We represent the same national and local companies as the insurance agencies you see on TV. And you know what? We can sit down with you one-on-one and help you find the right plan just for you.
Kell Insurance is located beside the Cultural Center and behind Gillum Realty in downtown Lincoln. 107 North Cedar Street. Call 704-732-4646 and follow them on Facebook. Kell Insurance.
Look who just flew into town. Wild Birds Unlimited has expanded their nature shop, the latest in beautiful Denver, North Carolina. You'll want to take the short drive from Lincoln for all your seeds and feeders, hobby guides, gift cards, and more. Philip and Renee look forward to seeing you soon, and tell them that WLON sent you. Wild Birds Unlimited, now serving Lincoln and Catawba counties. Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Scooters Coffee, we like to think of ourselves as day makers. A quick stop at Scooters can mean a fresh start to the morning, a midday break, or an afternoon reward to a long, busy day. Scooters Coffee has hot drinks, cold drinks, protein shakes, smoothies, and don't forget their great selection of food items. And Scooters reminds you to have an amazing day with a sticker on every item. Stop by 689 North Highway 16, Denver today. Scooters Coffee, serving smiles every day.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us. Sports Talk. 2 Red Sox fans, a Dodger, and a Giant went into a bar. That's what we got here this morning. It's baseball season. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad it's here. The only thing I don't like is it starts while March Madness is just at its peak, at its peak. So
I heard someone suggest on a podcast that it should start every year on April 1st. That's when it should start.
Is that a joke?
No, actually, they meant that.
If we were kidding, it's not going to start till tomorrow because it's April Fool's
April
Day.
Fool's, yeah.
Is Mike's song? Oh, that's old. Devil with Blue Dress. I'm on old text. We do have. Let's see. Ned got the.
You got it.
Yeah. No, he got the group, but missed the song title. Freddie Scott, correct on both.
Ooh, Freddie
this
Scott.
morning. So, read them again, Brett.
Sunshine, blue skies, please go away. My girl has found another and gone away.
So.
And I wish that it would rain.
Mm-hmm.
By
the Temptations.
Yep. And if I knew the song, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always 50-50 whether I guess the Temptations or the Four Tops.
Yeah,
and usually when I guess, I miss. So I knew the song. It's a great song, and yes, we're all wishing, I think, for rain. Now, as much as we don't like the rain for many reasons, we got to have it.
Yeah, and that's the one David Ruffin handled lead vocals. He was the Temps' best lead vocalist.
That's debatable. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But everything's debatable.
Yeah. He also was the lead on My Girl, which I guess is their signature song.
I was just sitting here trying to think over the last. I do want to mention this. The playoffs, the NCHSAA this past week. The board of directors put out the playoff format for the high school football playoffs. 1A through 7A will be 48, right, Brett? 48 teams. I'm not looking at anything here, so correct me if I'm wrong. 48 teams in each classification, which means there will be 16 byes. So I'm guessing all conference champions will get a bye, and then there might even be a few second-place teams that get first-round byes, depending on how many conferences there are that are in each classification. But you got to remember this too. We've been used to 105, 110 teams in a classification, and now there'll be no more than 64.
Yep.
So there might not be as many byes for second place as I think. There might just be that many conferences out there that but I can't imagine that. It's got to be. It would think it got to be some second place teams that do get buys. And you okay with that? I mean, you know, putting buys in there. The first round games will be more competitive, you would think, with all the with the top 16 not playing the opening week, and then you'll get teams like we mentioned earlier in the show that, you know, you have to win a playoff game before you have to go to that number 1 seed or those 1 seeds from those particular conferences. So basketball, you know, I'm guessing, Lenny, when we get to that, it's going to have to be a little different too than it has been. It might not be quite as much different. They might, you know, it looks like in football they're trying to let in as many teams as possible. How many teams did we say it'd be in at 48?
48, I believe you said.
48, and that's only going to leave out about
10, 8 or 10,
maybe a little more than that
per classification,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you couldn't have 64. There's not enough.
No, there's not enough to have 64.
So, yeah, the only other option would be cut it down to 32, which probably doesn't feel like enough.
Yep. I'm okay with the buys. I'm okay, you know. Here's the only thing I don't like. With all the conferences being shaken up and everything, there could be playoff teams that have 2 weeks in a row
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know Lincoln's got the next to last week of the season as their bye week.
Okay.
I'm not sure who in that conference has the last week off.
In that conference, Highland Tech.
No.
Yep. They volunteered. From what I was understood,
I'm assuming Shelby and Burns
that.
play the last
Mm-hmm.
week of the season, like Lincoln and West do.
Yep. That is correct. Now in the Catawba County Conference, they're not having the rivalry week at the end of the.
They're not
at the end.
Do they have an even number?
Mm-mm. They got 9.
That's right. Now I remember you.
They got 9
talking about the scheduling.
Yeah, and I cannot remember who had the open date that final week. But I just remember seeing East Lincoln and North Lincoln are playing like week 5.
Yeah,
you know, so it's not that rivals at the very end of the season. Although the other conference that's here local, with the 2 more Lincoln County schools in it, is doing that from what I understand. So, I'm you know. Does it matter one way or the other? Not really. You're going to play them at some point, but it is good to see rivals.
I don't like it the last.
Do you
week.
not?
No, because that game can be so emotional, and in the first round of the playoffs, you might not play your best because of that.
A little letdown.
Yeah.
What was you going to say, Lenny? I see.
Well, I was also saying, if it's some team that you think are both going to be near the top, you're going to see yourself maybe even quicker in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, you'd like that gap. Like mid-season, and then if we see them again, how much better have we got, or have we closed the gap? Or
that is the worst thing about the playoff system in every sport in high school, is that you might see a conference foe first week.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and you know, didn't Lincoln in basketball play West Caldwell then Maiden?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, they saw 2 back-to-back weeks, back-to-back games. In 1 week, they played 2 conference opponents, and they're not the only one. That's just the one that was in basketball. I just entered my head that they did that. They had to do that right off the bat. So I don't think there's, you know, this with less teams, it's even going to be harder to fix. Now, one thing good is I don't mind the combo conferences. You know. You got 1A, 2A, 3A in some. You got 3A, 4A in some. You got the Catawba one up here is 4A, 5A, because you won't have to face. You know, that eliminates real quick. You know, if you're Maiden or you're East Lincoln, you're North Lincoln, that eliminates real quick that you could play. If you're Maiden, you're not going to play East Lincoln. You're not going to play North Lincoln. You're not going to play Hickory in the first round. So at least it eliminates 3 opportunities that you know, you could play in that opening round and won't have to. So, Butch was telling me last week he saw the Maiden schedule, and he said it was really backloaded. Theirs was, you know, it starts off okay in conference play, but then toward the end, I think he said they had the 5A schools maybe all in a row, or 3 out of 4 weeks they had the 5A schools, which are North Lincoln, East Lincoln, and Hickory. So, I don't know anything that that they could have done to make it any better. That the board, NCHSAA board, could have done to make it any better. It's still going to be good football games, basketball games, baseball, whatever it may be, whatever your sport is. And the best thing about all this to me is North Carolina's been way behind on crowning state champions, with only crowning 4. And when states that are smaller than us, smaller than North Carolina population-wise, have had more state champions. So it's about time we got down to where classes are only 64, and that's the what's it called when it's a law, when it's put in, it's 64 is in the
mandated,
the court documents or whatever, is no class can have more than 64 teams. Now what does that mean whenever we get to the point where, what, do the math for me real quick, Brett, get you 64 times 8.
512.
All right, 512. When we get up to 512 teams, when we go over that, then what happens is they will not be 65 teams. They'll make a new classification.
Yeah.
That will go up to 9A. So that sounds so weird, doesn't it? But unless the bylaws change between now and then.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many schools there are right now, but we can't be that far from the number 512, can we?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say we're in the upper 4s right now. So some of them will be, we know there's some room right now because the 8A only consists of 32 teams.
Yeah, isn't it around 420 or 430?
Is it?
Schools right now?
Oh, yeah.
It may be.
It's way up in the 400s.
But guess how many schools are being built each year in North Carolina, new schools?
So many of them
some
are
of
charters.
them are charters. Yep. Some of them are charters. Some of them are charters that won't play sports right away.
Yep.
But, it's coming. So.
And then so many of these charters play most of the sports, but not football. So
a lot of them
do, Google says 443.
443.
In the NCHSAA.
Okay. So. That's some wiggle room. That's years away.
Yeah.
That's a few years away before we get to 512. So 512 be all right, but 513, look out. It'll be different. It's going to be different. And it's going to be different coming up because you take somebody like this group sitting in here, a lot of us like to go watch the games. Well, there are going to be so many championship games, they're going to have to play at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to.
I just hope some of them are at Wake Forest.
Yeah. I ain't even thinking about football. You're
going to have more venues, obviously, right?
Well, I've heard Elon mentioned. Rick calls him Leon, so
Leon.
Leon is one school that's been mentioned. I've heard maybe UNC Charlotte, being mentioned for places
great what's it hold? 14,000.
Got to spread them out. Adequate. It's plenty.
It holds enough.
There won't be 14,000.
No.
I wouldn't think. Although the basketball game last year we saw did hold 9,000 at Wake Forest.
It did.
Between Reidsville and Farmville Central. So, who's the biggest crowd you ever seen at for state championship? Brett, you've been going now for quite a while, and you.
Davie County that year at Wake Forest.
That's the first one came to my mind. First one came to my mind, Davie County, and the second one that comes to my mind was the. Whatever the team was, we saw at NC State wearing red. That was it was a directional school. It was either the one Peppers went to or their rival. Southern Nash. Was it Southern or Northern? Seemed like it might have been Northern Nash. No, Northern Nash
was green and gold.
That's who played East Lincoln.
So it was Southern wearing red.
Are you guys forgetting?
Southern Nash had maybe the biggest crowd.
Are you guys forgetting former Grove Stadium, now known as Truist Field, East Lincoln, Tarboro? That was a good crowd.
They're all good crowds, Mike. I'm just saying overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
I'm talking about. Yeah.
I heard the year, I can't remember if it was South Iredell, but Bunn made it to Chapel Hill, and I remember reading
sold out
comments that they brought as big a crowd as anybody had ever seen one school bring.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't at that game.
Yeah. What's sad is, is the teams that like make it every year. Like your Reidsvilles and Shelby's. And that seem to get there a lot. Not every year, but you get there a lot. But their crowds, they're so used to winning that the crowds are not. Their supports. I'm sure people are pulling for them at home, but they don't go.
Yeah, well, let's think about it. Shelby coming into the conference that Lincoln and Wesleyan is going to be in. They don't. Shelby doesn't travel well.
Right, yeah.
And I've been to a lot of their basketball games at home anyway. They don't travel or show up for that either.
Yeah, but their players do.
Players show up.
Their players
don't
do.
count on Shelby being a big gate.
Well, no, nobody does that.
Now, Burns.
Yeah, they'll be there. County.
Burns will be there.
Yep. Be there. Yep, difference in county and city.
Yep, that's right.
Let's see. Mike Painter says, heard yesterday that the White Sox won 8-1 on opening day. They said the last two teams to win 8-1 on opening day won the World Series. That's going to end. Angels in 2020, Braves in 2021. Won 8-1 on opening day and went on to win the World Series. Okay, here you go. The White Sox winning the World Series this year is just as likely as anybody want to get. It's not. There's not an answer to this. I'm waiting on you to fill in the blank. To snow tomorrow.
Yeah.
I
was going to say like the Hornets winning the NBA title next year. They're eliminated
Hornets
this year,
making
but
the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, it's about as likely as them winning it this year. I did see a thing yesterday.
The Hornets making the playoffs.
After day one, I saw something that said White Sox eliminated. After the first, they lost their first game, right? Yeah, White Sox eliminated. Mike Painter also says, with all the growth, they're going to have to build a high school in Sherrills Ford. So that takes some of the bandies.
Oh yeah, you've been through there lately, Sherrills. That's a city now. I'm telling you.
Really?
Yeah.
Drive that way.
No, I'll just. Why?
Walk this way.
You know how long it takes to get.
Just don't go any further. Yeah. You drive through there, but don't go any further.
You know how long it takes to get from here to Mooresville?
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah. It does.
Stop at what?
150 is so ill-equipped to handle.
We had to go through that when we went to Salisbury a few weeks ago. But we were going the correct direction at the time of day because we were going east. And boy, I would not have been wanting to go west in the traffic that we saw. Let's see. Hornets get number 1 pick, says Ned. So there's something positive out of everything, right? The Hornets get the number 1 pick. I remember when the Hornets got the number 1 pick and wound up with Vlade Divac instead of Kobe Bryant. Don't you guys remember?
So they've already had the lottery.
No.
He is that.
It's the Hornets getting the number 1 pick. If hell freezes over thing,
I see.
No, they didn't.
They're not
number 1 when they drafted Kobe.
That is a good answer, though.
They were like 13 or something.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That's.
Kobe was their first round pick. He was not the number 1 pick.
Are we still thinking that Flagg will be the number 1 pick?
If he goes,
If he goes,
I don't think there's any question.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question what pick he's going to be if he's in the draft.
True, I agree.
He's going to be the number 1 pick.
You know what the biggest thing to me about him is, and maybe I'm just selfish or blind or not getting it all, but I think he makes everybody on the court better.
Oh, he does.
He does. It's not just
It's not
just him. He makes the other players better. It's not like a phenomenon that's coming out there and going to be just scoring and scoring. He makes the other guys better.
It's that he's but to me a better athlete this day and time. But to me, he's bird-like.
He just
makes everybody.
He don't shoot that well yet.
Yeah, if he can continue to work on the 3, he's got the passing instinct.
What else is he going to have to do while making however many millions a year, other than just stay in the gym and practice shooting the basketball?
He just says he's a genius at basketball.
If he's automatic 1, who's the second pick? Is he from the United States?
How about that kid from Auburn, Broom?
I don't think he's second. No.
I've heard the 2 guys that Rutgers.
The guys at Rutgers.
Rutgers, that's right. Dylan Harper.
Ace Bailey and Dylan
Harper. That's right. Yeah.
The two.
And what round of the
They
NCAA
didn't
tournament?
make the tournament.
They didn't make the
So they got two guys that's going to be drafted that high, but didn't make the tournament.
The Edgecombe from
Something's wrong
Baylor.
there.
Edgecombe from
he's
Baylor.
supposed to be top 5.
Well, I agree with you on that, David. You think, I'm like you. Why didn't they make the tournament? But then again,
they're freshmen.
In the transfer portal era, it degrades freshmen with because the couple guys that do, they're the exception in terms of freshmen.
They are
ready to play. And, right now, those guys are kids going against men.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't know. This is something there's a lot of things I don't know, but this, okay, if Flagg is the best freshman and Duke, you say, has the best freshman, where's the other best freshman? Who's another freshman that is a surefire first rounder, or is there one? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, like
I've seen
those two are.
I've seen Knipple and Malawatch projected top 10, like 8 and 9.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I know. Well, the big guy from Maryland, I don't know if he's.
I would say
he's coming out.
If he comes out,
Queen.
He's a top 10. If he comes out, which I would say yes, he would.
I know Georgia
Derek
had a really
Queen.
good one. Georgia,
Asa Newell.
Yeah, now he's like 6'10".
Okay, I mean, I was just wondering who some of the other freshmen out
And
are
in
out
Texas,
there that
Texas
are likely
had a
to
good
get.
one.
Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
Trey Johnson.
Yeah, he'd be a.
That seems like an everyday name.
Yeah,
Trey Johnson. But we don't know. I mean, I don't know anyway. You guys may know all the foreign players that will be scattered.
That's right. Those you don't even know.
That's. I mean,
yeah. And last year, that's what the draft was full of in the first round. There weren't a lot of great players coming out of college.
And that's why my thought is, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe Cooper Flagg is not the automatic first pick. There may be a foreign guy that we don't know about.
That's very true.
I think he is, to me. Yeah. I mean, by now I think
everything I've heard, he's the number one pick.
If they were somebody,
no matter what, if he comes out this year, next year, or the next, he's going to be the best player.
If there's somebody overseas, by now I think we'd already heard that name this year.
What's the likely one or two teams he likely lands on with that lottery?
It's going to be a bad team.
Well, is it? I mean,
well, it all depends, right? I mean, you trade the number one pick.
And somebody might have somebody's pick.
Utah, Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans. Those are the worst 4 records.
Utah, Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans.
And New Orleans actually has a pretty good roster. They've had a ton of injuries this year.
Maybe they're tanking.
Yeah.
Did the Hornets tank?
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose. I figured that's what was coming. Hey, we've enjoyed having you this morning.
Chronic tanking is what they're
been a chronic tanking. That's
for
it.
years now.
Yep. It's time for us to ride. Thank you for tuning in. For Brett and Mike and Lenny, I'm David. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.